existential feeding. It's not what you think it is. It's much worse. Let's talk about it.
Concrete dreams where the neon glows. Every block tells a tale the whole.
Hey, I'm Adam Katz for DogTrainerToolbox.com. We offer a number of services and information products and different things to help you grow your dog training business. Check us out at DogTrainerToolbox.com. My name's Adam Katz. Over the past 30 some years, I've owned 3 dog training businesses myself. I've trained dogs in 5 different countries, and I still identify as a dog trainer, even though I'm doing mostly marketing and sales related consulting stuff and running ad campaigns. I still identify as a dog trainer. Lots of people today identify as lots of different things. I still identify as a dog trainer. So the topic of existential feeding, let's talk about it, because it's not what you think it is. I know many of the big name social media dog training gurus, and it's not my role to be the dog training police. It's not my role in this industry to call people out for doing certain things that maybe they shouldn't be doing. Other influencers do that, and I'm not criticizing that. I think there's a role for that, but it's not my role. My role is helping dog training business owners get more clients, run a more profitable dog training business. That being said, occasionally I run across issues, dog training issues, that grind my gears, and I want to talk about it because that kind of content seems to resonate with a lot of you guys. So we're going to get into today's topic, which is existential feeding. What is it not? Let's talk about what it's not, because there's a misconception that existential feeding is that the dog has, let's say, one ration of food, whatever that may be for the dog. That may be 2 cups of food, whatever. Let's just call it one ration of food for the day. And instead of putting that ration of food in the dog's bowl when he's in your kennel because you've got him for a board and train, instead you make the dog work for that food, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. I've done that myself for years and years. You're using the food as a motivator. Hopefully you're not using the food as a bribe. There's a difference. You're using the food as a motivator, and the dog works, and then he gets to eat, and it brightens up his demeanor, and it makes training more fun, and it's all in all, it's a good thing. So you're not feeding the dog from the bowl, you're feeding the dog during training. That's not existential training or existential feeding. That's simply using food with your training. The problem comes in when, and again, a lot of these big name dog trainers off the record have told me that they're doing the following. They get a dog in, a pet dog, not a competition dog, a pet dog. Maybe it's a dog that has really bad nerves. Maybe it also has really low food drive, just not that interested in eating. And you put him in a environment where now he's stressed because he's away from his pack. He's away from his normal surroundings. He's maybe never stayed in a kennel before, and he's stressed. And what happens to that food drive? It goes way down. Doesn't want to eat. Or maybe he eats a little bit from the bowl, but you bring him out for training and he has no desire whatsoever to take the food from your hand or take the food in the context of training. Again, dogs with bad nerves, dogs with low food drive, they're not that uncommon. In fact, this type of scenario is one of the things that we criticize the force-free, purely positive trainers, because the only tool they have in their toolbox is really using food and training. And so what happens when they can't use that tool? Now they'll tell you they'll use toys or they'll use balls or different things, but they rarely do. It's predominantly 99% food. What happens when they can't use the food? Same thing that's happening with these big name dog training gurus who are using existential training. And what they're doing is they're simply not feeding the dog. And a day goes by, offer the dog food from hand. Dog doesn't take the food because, good morning. because low food drive and bad nerves. Okay, no eating. Second day, same thing. Third day, same thing. Some of these people I've talked to, and again, these are big name people that have very nice personalities that most of you probably recognize. They'll let this go on for 4 days, 5 days, sometimes 6 days without feeding the dog. And guess what? The dog loses a ton of weight, and then they're in a rush once they do get the dog eating, which my speculation is probably the dog's not super enthusiastic. The dog's just miserable at that point. Then they're in a rush to put weight back on the dog before the client comes to pick up the dog, because they don't want to see how much weight the dog has lost. Now, this is a problem with the board and train model in general, because dogs will get stressed and they'll lose weight. But when you use this real existential feeding regimen, you're basically starving the dog. And for what? For a pet dog? For Fifi or Fido? And they're not telling the owners what they're doing, which in my mind is really the kicker that makes it even worse, right? So the theory is, well, when the dog gets hungry enough, the dog will start eating. But the reality is, with dogs with bad nerves and low food drives, they will eat the very bare minimum. They're not going to turn into chow hounds just because you stop feeding them. And I don't think it's right. Like, for example, if I gave my dog to another dog trainer and said, here, take the dog for 3 weeks. I don't have time. I'm traveling, whatever. Can you put some training on the dog? And I found out that he was not feeding the dog for 5 or 6, I would be extremely pissed. I would be extremely pissed. And you can't tell me that most dog owners would be down with that. Maybe some will, maybe you explain it in a way, but the point is, why? For pet dogs, I mean, in 3 days, in less than 3 days, you can have the dog doing sit down, heel, stay, place, wait at the door, lay down around distractions, the foundation of the come command, all of that stuff you can have done in 3 days. Whereas you're not feeding the dog, it just doesn't make sense to me, guys. It just doesn't make sense. And this message really geared towards a lot of younger trainers, a lot of newer trainers. Just because you hear it from your favorite social media darling, who's got a good personality and is very likable and has a huge following, doesn't make it right, because they're not coming out and telling you on video that they're doing this, but they're telling me off the record when I have personal one-on-one talks what they're doing. Again, I'm not the dog trainer police, but I don't like it. And what I am saying is, if you're a young dog trainer, if you're a new dog trainer, be aware that not everything that's preached is actually doing right by the dog. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you're not a member, you can join the Dog Trainer Marketing Group. To be honest, it's really more of a group about marketing and advertising and sales and running your dog training business. It's not a group to talk about the ethics of dog training per se. But again, like I said, the content, this type of content seems to resonate with my audience, so I'm probably going to be doing a little bit more of it. And we're going to put it in the context of how it relates to running your dog training business by suggesting that, number one, you shouldn't be doing this because it's not necessary. And if you are going to do it, be frank and 100% transparent with the dog owner that this is what you're doing, and then let them decide whether or not it makes sense. Sorry about the bumpy camera. See you guys at the Dog Trainer Marketing Group on Facebook. Check out dogtrainertoolbox.com. If you need to grow your dog training business and get a consistent stream of desperate dog owners calling you each and every day, each and every week, and each and every month, I'm Adam Katz. We'll talk to you soon, guys.